In this video, I'm going to give a little short tutorial on how to use ScrapPage to build really stunning looking pages that can be uploaded to hard copy printing photo book companies like Shutterfly or Snapfish. You start off by opening a new project, and you have to decide what size book, of course, you're going to print. ScrapPage gives you a lot of options, or you can add your own custom one if you're going for some unusual print size. But I know that 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 11 landscape is a very common one, so we'll start with a project that's that size. Now ScrapPage will just open a white sheet which is going to be the background, but we can change that later, so I'll worry about changing it after we import some pictures to work with. So let's add a few pictures here, and we'll go get let's say we take this picture here, and we take this one, and we take this one. Okay, let's make those our three main focal pictures that we want on this layout. Now you'll see that ScrapPage brings them in the upper left corner. It sizes them roughly to a quarter of the size of the page, or half, either in dimension of vertical or horizontal, whichever way fits best. Now, one of the things about the way it works, the interface in ScrapPage, is if you can imagine these just being photos that are laying on your top of your table or whatever workshop surface you're using, these photos move around very much like you would if they were just laying there. So you can orient them, and orient them by orienting them. I mean, you can rotate them by grabbing these rotation handles. You can change their size by grabbing the grow handles here. And you can position them anywhere you want just by clicking on them, selecting them, and dragging them around just like you would if you were working on your tabletop surface with actual photos. So it's very, very similar to using hard copy prints already, only these are digital, of course, and we move them around that way. Now the other thing you can do with them, if you just take the picture that you have here, for instance, and we say, well, let's cut that down a little bit, almost sort of like scissors, you can just right click and that will bring up this rectangle, which we then can position where we want and tell it, okay, let's crop it there, and now we've just cropped that picture down. Okay, so now it can move around, and like it could before, it can just rotate and grow and reposition anywhere you want it. Now what I'd like to do is also show you that sometimes pictures can stand out better when they have a border. And if we select a photo and we go up here and we tell it, hey, I want to give this thing, let's say, a medium-sized border. Okay, when it comes in, you can see that it comes in with this gray outline of where the border that we've selected is, or the frame, and it's a gray just to see so you can see where it is when it's first initiated. But that's easy enough to change. We'll just go up here while the picture's selected and go in here and pick a color. Now you can pick colors out of here using the color picker, and we'll pick a color off of this thing, something about like that, let's say. Maybe even give it a little bit more definition in color, something in that order. All right, so now we'll tell it okay. So there, the picture has got that as a border now. Now, to make it even more exotic, we can apply a texture to that. We'll just stick with that color, and I'll go in and get a texture now. And these are standard textures that come with ScrapPage. And let's open that up, and that would have placed now that texture on that border, which gives it some definition. The other thing that you can always do, and it works out very well in most cases, is to give it a shadow. So that makes it stand off a little bit. So now we've got a nice looking little border around there. It has some of a kind of a textured definition, and with a shadow. We might even increase that shadow a little bit. Let's take it up to about a 6, and we'll say there. Now it really pops off the page. Now that we've got that selected that way, let's tell that we want this picture to match to the previous, and this one to match to the previous. So now they all have that same border, but these aren't shadowed yet, but that's okay. We can just also match to the previous for a shadow, and now they're all shadowed. Okay, so now the question is, where are we going to put these pictures on our layout? We might take this one and maybe set it down here. Something, let's say something in this order. That might be a little heavy on the rotation. Let's move it here. We'll take this one, move it over here, maybe blow it up a little bit, and set it something like this. And I think I'd like to make this kind of the business or the main picture that we're going to work with. So we're going to really blow it up in size, and we'll rotate it to somewhere, let's say something on this order here. I don't know, maybe just a little bit larger. It's up to you. It's however you feel like laying your pictures out. But as you can see, it's real easy to move them around, to resize them, get them where you want, rotate them, crop them down. There's no thing. Okay, so now that these things are scattered around a little bit like this, it might be better to figure out what are we going to do with the background, because just this plain white isn't working too well. Well, one of the things you can do is you can always change the background in ScrapPage. So let's pick that same color that we had before, and I'm going to give it a texture. And let's give it a texture of, I think patches will work pretty nice for this layout. So we'll bring it in something like this, and you'll see when it's done computing here that the background is going to have now, it's kind of a little bit of a definition to it, different shade, and it kind of complements what we've done so far. Now the other thing you can do is dress this thing up with other elements other than photos. And in this case, what I think I'd like to do is I have a copy of the invitation for this couple's wedding, and I'll bring it in, and I'm going to rotate it and set it up in this area, but you'll notice it's going to cover everything up. Well, just like on your hard copy work table, if you were working with real pictures, you can restack these things very simply. So we'll just select this thing, and I'm going to choose this button right here to move it to the back. Okay, so now it's behind all this stuff, and we'll blow this up a little bit more so you can get an appreciation of their name and from the invitation. Although we're not showing the invitation in full here, you can certainly see who they are. We'll just rotate that a little bit and maybe bring it down in size some. So there they are. They're requesting your company at their celebration. Okay, so that added a little more of definition to things. Now, as a final, one of the other really neat features of ScrapPage is we can take this particular picture and let's duplicate it. So I'll go in here and I'm just going to duplicate this image, because what I want is just a part of it. Now it's rotated back to 0 because I'm going to go in here and I want to do a crop, but I'm going to do a special kind of crop because I want to get her flowers. And what I'll do then is go over here to my cutout masks, and in here I can apply different kinds of masks, and I'm going to pick this one, which is kind of just a random scatter mask, and I'm just going to set it down here, and I'm only going to select out of here her flowers. That's all I really want, is just the flowers, and I'll show you why in just a second. Let's go ahead and apply that. Now you can see we just got the flowers. I don't want to have the frame around it, so I'm going to turn the frame off, and that'll give me just the flowers. Now I can move that up here, and I'm going to send it to the back, and we'll get the flowers situated. Now they're a little bit bold right there, so the other thing I can do is I can take the opacity, that is the density of the photo down, so that this becomes part of the background as opposed to being such a noticeable thing in the picture. But anyway, there you go. After just a few seconds or a few moments here, we've put together a very personalized and very nice looking page that would then be uploaded to, as I say, to either Shutterfly or Snapfish or one of the hard copy Photobook printers. And you can make a lot of these pages, and it's very simple to do. The flexibility is there with ScrapPage to do any of these things. You can do lots more fancy stuff if you want, but for a very quick hit, it can turn out a nice looking page with very little effort. So until the next time I go more depth into page layout, this is Dave from Media Digitronics. Bye-bye.